obviously didn't have, Jalen in the Arizona State game, but it did kind of confirm to me that that's a tough matchup for you guys.
Yeah. We still play. We still, whenever a guy's out, I think a lot of it is too much is made of it at times. The question is, did you have preparation with the guy being out? Because then you have preparation. So, but we still were, so we still played 5-on-5. They beat us fair and square. They made shots. They were great that night. Bobby's a guy that I have tremendous respect for. Like I said this to you before, I know he and Danny really well. So I think he's done an unbelievable job. What have they won, 7 in a row?
Yes.
He's done an unbelievable job adjusting, and with Verge being a factor for them as a new guy, and getting their guys to defend. I think that a lot, they play fast, but they create a lot of turnovers, and I don't think they get the credit for their defense. Their defense is the reason. And then they made shots, but they turned us over, and we never really got comfortable. And that game got away from us because of their defense. I think they because of their play fast. When you play fast, like Nolan Richardson didn't get any respect back in his day for defense, but because they scored. But their style of defense had the game faster. So anyway, my point is, I think that they're playing really hard on the defensive end. I think that Bobby's done a great job with that.
The fast break points just killed you.
But that's because of their defense.
Yeah.
Some of it. It's not all turnovers, but they force you in an uncomfortable shot. It starts their break as well. You can't defend. They're too good on the break. They're too fast to let them get playing downhill. They don't need an advantage break. Like they don't need 2-on-2 or 2-on-1 or 3-on-2. If they get 2-on-2, they're going to score.
How does it feel to come home to kind of a first place showdown at this point of the season?
It's great. Obviously we all saw this coming 5 weeks ago. I think, it's obviously when you're hired to do a job, you work for the school, you work for the fans and the former players. So whenever you can, get things going in the right direction, it's great for everybody. So hopefully it'll be a packed house Thursday night. That'll be fun. I know I think our kids will really appreciate that. The guys would really appreciate that. I thought the crowd was a big factor in our comeback against Washington. I said that after the game. I said it on the radio. But you got to give them a reason to get into it. You got to start getting some stops and getting the ball in the basket. You got to try to motivate them a little bit with the way you play. So, I think it's really exciting. Looking forward to it.
You guys, the last 2 home games came out a little slow and had to come back. Do you think maybe guys took being at home and the advantage for granted a little bit?
Could be. Sometimes you slip into a thing. Teams slip into a comfort level at times. We're going to win. We're at home. That's a dangerous thing because I don't. Your crowd's not going to get into it and become a factor if you're not playing well and you're not on a run. So being at home can really be fool's gold.
Are you surprised at the turnaround in the last few weeks, or is this something that you could foresee?
I was going to try with a straight face to tell you that I foresaw that we were going to beat Colorado twice. Because my respect, I think Colorado's really good. I mean, I watched them beat Dayton early in the year, who's ranked 3rd in the country. I think that one of Colorado and Kansas only teams to beat Dayton. I'm not surprised. But I didn't predict it. But I just try to focus on having a good practice today, for instance. I think that the players follow the lead that you give them as a coaching staff. So, I think everybody on the outside, the sky was falling. Now it's all, Well, it is beautiful and sunny. We're in Westwood. If you're a recruit, it's how it is here. Now everything's rosy. But it's not going to be if you get beat. So you got to know that. So you just try to stay focused on what you're trying to do, which is build your program and also help your players get better individually. So I just go try to teach every day.
Was there a moment when the guys really started to gel with your philosophies? It just started to click.
That's the most asked question of the last 2 weeks. Every announcer, every TV guy. No, I can't. I can't say there is. I think that it's just been a process of daily just keep teaching. And my friend Larry Eustace said, he's working for the Jazz now. We stay in touch. He's a West Coast guy. He's helped me with my transition to somebody to talk to about basketball out here. He had a great line for me when we were struggling. He said, you're building regardless of the results. People don't see it, but if you're in practice, you see it. Eventually, if you just keep building, the focus, the results will change and people will see them. The problem is, when the guys build the building, sometimes you're working on the interior, so you're driving by and it doesn't look good. Eventually, eventually it'll change and it'll get built. But you got to. There's parts of what you're doing that don't show up in results, which was helpful. We talked about that. It was helpful because we were talking about we had a great practice before our North Carolina game and didn't get the job done in the game. It was like, eventually we will play like we practice. We just have to keep practicing the way we're practicing. So we were practicing this way all year. It just took us a while to figure out how to win at game time. And some of that's like real X and O adjustments that we had to do. David had to get some experience. I just told Ben this, people don't realize my first 6 months, David and Tiger did not practice. So, with today's rules in the off season, all the time you get, I know I kept trying to tell you guys this. It took David got cleared to practice like a week before our opener. Tiger got cleared in late September. So those guys started guard for us. So our, the first 5-6 months of putting in what you're doing, those guys weren't on the floor. So we were just way behind. And Tiger didn't even play basketball last year. So it was there was a lot of factors into why, but
can you talk about your players a little bit? How a lot of
they
kids today would quit.
Yeah, people keep saying that. I'm not in my neighborhood, but
No,
I hear you. People. People say that. I always look at. I coach backwards from the thing of every kid wants to play well. They want to do well. We just have to show them how to do it. That's our job as a teacher. Everybody wants to do well in your class. Okay, so and if eventually you figure out, well, they just don't care, then they don't need to be in your class. But I work from the angle that they all want to be good players. They all want to win. They all want to have a good team. You just got to show them how to get there. And it maybe wasn't the way that they've been doing it their whole life. So it's just, it's your coaching staff's job to show them how to get there.
You guys have had 5 different leading scorers in the last 9 games.
You always have interesting stats.
Yeah, and I can kind of take 2 views on that. It's like, it's good that you have different people step up, but then on the same token, do you want more reliability?
Yeah, hey, it doesn't hurt to have LeBron on your team or Kawhi, knowing you can just, a guy can just get you a bucket when the game's on the line. But, that being said, having the fact that you have guys that, Jay Kyman can do what he did at Colorado is huge. Cody to be able to do what he did against Colorado and against Washington State. So, to have different guys that can do it. So it's, there's good and bad to both of it. You'd probably like to have it, but also have a guy that can get you 20 every night.
You got one guy averaging double figures in scoring. Have you ever had that in your career before?
I had team that went to the NCAA tournament. We had one at Cincinnati where nobody averaged double figures. So had to find a way to win that year. Extremely young.
Was that the first year you went to the tournament? Or?
No, it was in the middle of the run. We had lost a bunch of seniors the year before. Similar to this year, lost your 3 leading scorers.
Can you talk about how important it is to have a guy like Jalen Hill and then the emergence of Cody Riley to your philosophy and your scheme?
I think it's huge to have a guy that blocks shots. You know, shot blocking is huge to have an anchor defensively, somebody that protects the rim. And they've both done that. Obviously, Jalen's a better shot blocker. Cody's probably a better low post scorer. But those guys' development, without their development, we're not where we are. You know, we're not a game out of first with 3 to play without their development. And they're young guys. They just need time. Just got to keep coaching them. You know, I think conditioning for both of them has been extremely important on how to play major minutes and get in the shape it takes to play major minutes, and how to play with discipline. You know, like you saw early in the year they both frustration, technical fouls. You know, things that maybe I don't know if they. You know, I didn't know them before. They've been great since I got here. You know, I tell them something, yes sir. You know. So that it's allowed them to develop their attitude, their coachability's allowed them to get better.
Where do you see that biggest turnaround in Cody?
2 things: conditioning, extreme difference in his conditioning, and then second, taking his time on the offensive end. I still think he's, you know, he's still got he's the way he's built like a tank. You know, it's always going to be a challenge. That the conditioning parts, it can always be a challenge for him. But as it improves, I think you'll see him continue to improve as a player as his conditioning improves. But it's a lot easier for him, a lot easier for a guy like Chris Smith to run than Cody. Just genetically, it just is what it is.
Anything else?
All right, guys.